We begin tonight with a breaking news alert out of Huntington. Good evening. I'm Tim Eyre.
I'm Amanda Barron. Thanks for joining us. We have new information tonight on the story of that body we told you about was found in a hotel room yesterday in Huntington. News Channel 3's Blaine Carraher joins us now from the motel. And Blaine, police are saying the woman actually wrapped the man's body in a comforter and that he could have been dead in that room for 3 days.
Yeah, Amanda, I just spoke with the man who actually called 911 yesterday. He said that he smelled something coming from a room behind me, and that smell was actually making him sick. So after police arrived on scene, they then discovered the body of a man who's now identified as Bobby Mitchell. After a fire crew arrived here at the Coaches Inn, a woman actually fled the scene. She was identified as Elfrida Steele, and police found her just down the street from here. Now, when they took her in for questioning, she told police that Mitchell was actually her boyfriend, and she said that she had injected him with heroin, and when they both woke up, Mitchell wasn't breathing. So officials believe that the man actually died Saturday or Sunday, and again, he wasn't found until yesterday. Now, I just had a conversation with the owner of the Coaches Inn here. He said that he's doing everything he can to keep this motel safe. So coming up tonight at 10 on the CW and then also at 11 on WSAZ, I'll bring you a little bit more from that conversation with the Coaches Inn owner.
All right, Blaine, thanks. And we'll keep you updated on WSAZ Mobile and WSAZ.com as well. Now to a developing story. We're learning more tonight about a chemical fire that happened today surrounding and causing the folks in that area to go into a shelter in place. It even put a nearby elementary school on lockdown. This happened at the ICL plant around noon today, Tim.
Yeah, it also shut down part of Route 2 for a short amount of time. The road is now back open and the shelter in place has since been lifted. News Channel 3's Caitlin LeBeau was at that scene today. And Caitlin, this all took place in less than an hour.
Right, officials tell me they were able to get this fire out very quickly and that nobody was injured. But they did have to take some precautions during that time. A spokesman for the plant says a leak of phosphorus caused the fire. One neighbor sent us this video of gas filling the air. Plant officials notified 911 and a shelter in place took effect for people who were within about a 2-mile radius of the plant. Now that also applied to Beale Elementary, which is right down the road. The principal there tells me students were on the playground when they started to hear sirens go off. They also quickly got a call from the plant itself. They immediately went into their drill, which is to go to the far end of the building, seal all of the doors with plastic, turn off the AC to try to stop the ventilation, and bring snacks, water, and any medication to the room the kids might need.
So we were set for quite some time. If anything, lasting happened, they would have been fine. We practiced this several times throughout the year. They were all very professional. No one was upset and panicky, and so that kept the kids calm. It just worked out really well today.
She's talking about her staff there, very proud of them. The school did not have to dismiss early because that stay in place ended up being lifted very quickly. But the principal says they had the buses on standby just in case. They also had to ditch the school lunches, Tim, that were in the cafeteria just to be safe and cook new food. But the superintendent tells me he's just proud of his staff for how they handled it all, and they're just glad everyone's safe.
That's the way it ended, that's for sure. Thanks, Caitlin. Officials at the plant tell us they are still assessing the damage and investigating the cause of the leak. They tell us they do not believe the gas posed a threat to the environment. A major drug bust in Putnam County, where a deputy with the Putnam County Special Enforcement Unit found $49,000 worth of crystal meth. This happened last night in a parking lot of a motel in the Tays Valley area.
The Putnam County Sheriff's Department says Jeremiah Johnson was arrested, facing a number of charges now after tens of thousands of dollars worth of drugs, cash, and guns were found in his car. As News Channel 3's Katie Anderson reports, it all happened in an area where thousands of people shop and eat every single day.
On a Wednesday afternoon, it's a packed parking lot. And that's nothing new here at the Putnam Village Shopping Center, where shoppers like Sharon McVeigh
I am in this plaza at least 3 times a week.
can check everything off their shopping list. But what McVeigh didn't know is what's going on behind the plaza. On Tuesday night, more than $49,000 worth of crystal meth was found after a drug bust. Putnam County Sheriff Steve DeWeese says it happened here at the Red Roof Inn.
I don't know how we're going to solve this problem, but something does have to be done.
Sheriff DeWeese says a deputy with the Special Enforcement Unit was passing the hotel when he saw a drug deal in the parking lot. Deputies then arrested Jeremiah Johnson from St. Albans, who was staying here at the Red Roof Inn. In the car, deputies found almost a pound of crystal meth, $8,000 in cash, and 2 loaded guns. One of them was stolen. Johnson is now facing several drug charges, all happening in an area where the sheriff says drug activity is common.
I try to stick close to home in the evenings just so I don't have to encounter this stuff.
And where shoppers say it's too close for comfort.
Drugs aren't the answer, so we have to figure out something.
Katie Anderson, WSAZ News Channel 3, Taze Valley.
Johnson is also charged with possession of a stolen gun, being a prohibited person in possession of a firearm, and failure to pay child support. He's in the Western Regional Jail. On this International Overdose Awareness Day, the Obama administration, Tim, announced that West Virginia is one of 44 states that will receive funding to help fight opioid abuse.
The $53 million in funding will help reduce the overprescribing of painkillers, increasing treatment access, and making sure that Narcan is more widely available. The Obama administration is also asking Congress to provide $1.1 billion in new money to fight the problem. Now, that's above the $181 million Congress recently approved to fight opioid abuse. Huntington's Mayor Steve Williams joined national leaders discussing the problems that our area faced. He also says the biggest one is the lack of treatment facilities.
Determine whether they have a history of drug use, and you go and you administer it in the thigh and hold it for 5 seconds, and then the person's life can be saved. They have to oftentimes be used at least another time to be able to offset it. It gives us hope.
The DHHR says West Virginia has 132 crisis stabilization beds, which could be used for detox, but the typical wait time for a detox bed is around 6 months.
A convicted felon who was on the run after firing shots at an apartment complex near St. Albans is back behind bars today. Deputies arrested Brandon Schultz after they say he fired shots and ran from them at the Pine Meadows Apartments on Farrell Road. This happened back on August 21st. They say it happened when another man accused Schultz of trying to sell him a baggie of bogus meth. That's when Schultz allegedly fired at him and ran when deputies arrived. He's charged with wanton endangerment and a prohibited person with a firearm. He's also charged with grand larceny for a separate incident that happened on August 2nd when he allegedly stole a car from the Parmar gas station in St. Albans. He's in jail tonight on a $40,000 bond. A man who admitted to having a cocaine lab hidden inside a room in his basement in St. Albans is headed to prison. Christopher Ayash was sentenced today to 10 years behind bars. You might remember his home, which is on a family compound. It was raided by the DEA back in October. He pleaded guilty to 2 charges back in April. After his prison sentence, Ayash will be under supervised release for another 8 years and pay a $25,000 fine. As a part of his plea agreement, he also agreed to tear down TJ's Sheer Fantasy, the nightclub he owned in Jefferson. Several people, including 2 from our region, were charged this week in connection to a multi-million-dollar internet scheme to illegally dispense drug prescriptions. Philip Michael II of Alum Creek and Mike Reinhardt of Cross Lanes are among those accused of dispensing around $4 million worth of medications to people without a valid prescription. The federal indictment says their companies filled and shipped prescription orders across the country to people who hadn't even spoken to a physician or a medical practitioner. We're learning more tonight about how one Kanawha County Commissioner wants to repair the runway at Yeager Airport following the 2015 landslip. County Commission President Ken Carper says he wants to seriously consider doubling the size of the runway overrun safety area. Carper says he wants to take the runway and overrun area back towards where Coonskin Park is. He believes this will prevent the kind of landslip that they're dealing with now from ever repeating itself and make the runway safer and cheaper in the long run. We told you yesterday county leaders are considering 7 to 10 plans for repair, all of which will require finding the appropriate funding. A milestone was reached today in recovering from the June 23rd flooding in West Virginia. About an hour ago, the last 3 disaster recovery centers in West Virginia closed up shop. Despite the centers closing in Clendenin, White Sulphur Springs, and Raynell, FEMA says there's still plenty of help for people. You have until next Wednesday, a week from today, to apply online for FEMA assistance. We posted a link for you at WSAZ.com. Now, as of this morning, nearly 8,800 residents have already registered with FEMA, and more than $39 million in funding has already been approved.
We do want to make sure that people understand that help is still available to them. Also, the other thing that's really important is that people still have 1 week left to register for assistance if they haven't already done so.
If you still need help, you can also call the number on your screen. It's 1-800-621-FEMA. It's easy to remember. It's also on WSAZ.com. You can dial that number from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. A little sense of normalcy returned for some folks in Raynell today as the neighborhood Rite Aid reopened. The store along Canal Avenue is back open to the public after they, like so many others in Greenbrier County, suffered so much devastation from the June flooding. They were even operating out of a temporary pharmacy since the flooding to make sure neighbors still got what they needed during the recovery.
I think it allows them to see vision that we can rebuild. You know, there's many things that we can't take back that we lose, of course, you know, losing loved ones, memories of pictures and things like that. But as a community, we can come together, create a family spirit, and rebuild and be West Virginia strong.
Rite Aid also says they plan to reopen several other locations affected by the flooding in the coming months. One of the biggest challenges school administrators face in any state is attracting quality teachers. In West Virginia, administrators say it's also a bigger challenge to keep them here. WSAZ Charleston's Jatera McGee joins us now. And Jatera, a new study is highlighting a problem school officials in West Virginia say doesn't have a simple solution.
Yeah, far from it, Amanda. About 1 out of 10 teachers in West Virginia leaves, according to this study, every single year from the public school system. Now, those numbers are 3 times worse for new teachers, those teachers who train here, start their careers, and then move on. Now, I spoke to a principal of Mary C. Snow Westside Elementary School who says the state schools are taking a toll as they train these young teachers and then lose them within just a few years. She says one of the main problems is that teachers' salaries in West Virginia aren't competitive enough, especially compared with neighboring states that are just a few hours away. Now, the study was conducted by the National Center for Education Evaluation and Regional Assistance. One of the key findings is that 32% of new teachers who start their careers in West Virginia are leaving. Now, Principal Pierce says she tries to make her teachers feel valued and that if they're well supported, the passion for the state develops naturally.
Once they stayed here and they taught for 5 or 6 or 7 years and they saw the children and gained a love and respect for the children and the people of West Virginia, it would be hard to get them to leave.
Now, I just spoke with Kanawha County School Board member Rick Cavender, and he says unfortunately after the devastating flooding that we've seen, their main focus right now, #1 priority, is helping those flood-impacted schools, and rightfully so. But he says that one of his main goals is that once those schools are back on track, getting back on track with the county with these long-term solutions of helping teachers feel more valued. Amanda?
All right. Jatera, thanks. It's also important to note that although the study is new, the last year included was 2013, and with the current economic challenges in the state, the statistics could actually be trending in an even worse direction. Still ahead for you here at 6, the city of Nitro got quite the generous and unique gift today to honor the military history that they so treasure. We're going to tell you more after the break.
And August going out with still another 90-degree day, though the heat wave breaks in time for the 1st of September tomorrow. You'll love my Labor Day weekend forecast when I come back on WSAZ Charleston.